Welcome to our Independence Museum, where we have talking statues, artifacts from Abraham Lincoln to everything else. We'll show you some of the things here in just a few minutes that you've never seen before. In fact, I didn't know some of these even existed. But they really tie into today's news. Today we have, looks like a military coup in Egypt. Who would have seen this one coming, Bill Crystal? We have real problems in Egypt, and with a military coup, what's going to happen most likely is if they hold another election, it will go to the radical Islamists, and now we will have a radicalized Islamist state in Egypt. We also have more problems up in Turkey. They're now starting to blame the Jews. When have we seen that one happen before? And Nancy Pelosi used this week to talk about how the founders would have just loved Obamacare. Nothing could be further from the truth. I don't think she even understands what she's even saying anymore. But a couple of weeks ago, she was talking about abortion, and she said how her deep belief in her Catholic faith tells her that abortion is right. There's no honesty in that statement at all. No honesty in the statement that the founders would have loved Obamacare. No honesty in the idea that we are now waiting another election before they implement the rest of Obamacare. It is going to kill the United States of America. It will kill business, and they know it. And they're waiting so they can gather more power. Which leads me to the last piece. We're really at a place to where tomorrow we celebrate the 4th of July, while others will be celebrating Independence Day. What is Independence Day? What made us a great country? And that's what we're trying to tell here at this museum, and tell it in a different way. And you will see things that you've never really seen before. We have, for instance, everybody, of course, has seen these. Yellow Star. This is actually from a prison camp. But what's the red triangle? And is that different from the pink triangle or the green triangle? What do all of these mean? Well, when the Nazis took over, they just had to control everybody, and they had a lot of enemies that they had to erase. So it wasn't just the Jews; it was the gays, it was theater people, it was the communists, anybody. And the UH got your own little designation. This is Tokyo Rose's microphone. She was a villain in World War II. Tokyo Rose. Same kind of thing was happening in Japan as it was happening here. There was a grab for power. And we, of course, were the good guys, right? Or would we? Or were we? This is actually one of the few pieces of furniture that came from a concentration camp in America for the Japanese internment. We're no different. The difference, what makes us all the same in World War II is this. Socialist worker card. National Socialists, that's the Nazi. Communist, basically socialist on steroids. It's the same thing. So what made us different? This. This is a letter extraordinarily rare from George Washington, never really seen before. George Washington here is writing back to somebody who said, George Washington, you have just won this great contest, and you are going to be remembered for all time. And what's amazing is your name is going to be on streets and in cities, and they'll name bridges after you. And he said, glorious was the contest, but glorious if we consider the prize for which we have contended, and glorious in its, you can't read that last word there, but in the midst of all of the joys, I hope that we shall not forget that divine providence is to be given the glory and the praise. Not George Washington. It was divine providence. This is Ben Franklin in his own handwriting. He's debating with his sister, which is better, faith, hope, or charity. And this is a letter in the handwriting of Thomas Jefferson saying, God is essential in a revolution. If you have a revolution, you cannot win unless God is there. That is, quite honestly, why they will fail again in Egypt, and why anyone who is calling for a revolution will fail, and why this man succeeded. This is the last letter written on the stationery of the hotel where he was killed. This is the last letter written by Dr. Martin Luther King. He knew the answer was God. Don't celebrate 4th of July. Celebrate Independence Day. And watch carefully the events as they unfold. The struggle between good and evil continues.